some very special people that we met through close advisors of ours recently, Tze Jye and CK from Malaysia and Singapore. And these people are on a mission. Incredible spin-out out of well, they're running a holding company in Malaysia. They're deeply impressive, quite humble for what they've achieved. They won the bid out of over 9 people to purchase the logistics and warehousing business from Glencore. And they're doing a rockin' job. So I wanted to bring them to the stage right away. Would you please welcome Tze Jye and CK Eng. Here you go.
Thanks, Julie. And good morning, everyone. Well, I mean, yesterday I was a bit shy to introduce myself. Well, I mean, being one very unique reason. Yesterday in the room, I mean, when I hear a lot of presentation, we have a lot of startup. We have a lot of new company that come in just, you know, in the past 24 months or so. And the company that we are going to introduce is actually a company, I will call it a Sleeping Beauty.
Yes.
The reason why is it is a 90 years old company. Wow, I mean, wow, I heard wow, you see. This is why I felt, you know, everybody is talking about the startup, you know, new company, intervention, and why are we talking about the 90 years old company today? And why are we buying a 90 years old company? For what? So, I mean, this is here we are today. My name is Tze Jye, CK, and we have a colleague, Li Xiang, who is sitting there. So, we are the group of the ex-banker. We work in the bank for more than 10 years. We get bored with the bank. And then, you know, we saw the opportunity. Not 10. I'm trying to hide your age, actually. But anyway, so the reason why we are so keen and we go for the bidding and etc., the bidding process is we as a group of bankers, we are trying to change the system. But of course, you know, we can't change it with just, you know, a few of us. So what we are trying to do here is, you know, we found a platform opportunity. We bid for a warehouse, which is called Accessor. This is it. It used to be a warehouse or logistic company owned by Glencore. I mean, it's a present in 30 countries with a warehouse of, I mean, operating a warehouse of, I mean, more than 300 warehouses. So we thought this will actually give us a good networking opportunity to reach out to any part of the world and to start up our, what you call that, our vision, to transform the traditional warehouse business, to transform the, what you call that, the conventional commodity businesses, logistic businesses into the digital world. So let me just give you a quick intro. I mean, when we talk about warehouses, everybody might be, you know, it's not really relevant to, you know, to what everybody is doing here. But if you think about it, you know, warehouse is so important in the sense that everybody, direct or indirectly, you need warehouse, you need logistic. I mean, although we are promoting the just-in-time delivery and etc., you know, produce just, you know, just enough for, you know, for the usage, but at the back of it, it's supported by the vast network of the warehouse or the logistic, and this is what we are doing. So we are specializing in 2 parts of logistic. One is the commodity. Commodity is, you know, you have the energy, oil and gas storage. You have a metal storage, and the reason why I said this is 90 years old company because it started from coffee and cocoa, some spices back in 1930s. That's where, you know, people even go for war because they need spices, they need coffee, they need cocoa. So, and that is where this company started in Italy. They do storage for a little bit of metal and I mean, what you call that, the soft commodity, the agriculture product. Well, and today we are here today is not to talk about all this commodity and etc. But what we wanted to say is, you know, how can we transform a warehouse, a commodity businesses into a digital, into a tokenization project. So, yeah, this is why we have CK here. I mean, although I talk about all the digitalization, but you know, I don't even own. I don't even own a notebook in a company, you know. Well, I mean, just let me give everybody a quick, overview of the numbers. People look at the numbers and etc. before, we go into the next, our decision. So you see, trade finance gap, we always have these are the numbers that you can read it from the screen. And this is where coming from the bank, we felt a fluctuation that, a lot of things that we can't do from the bank. And this is why we have some of the venture capital, some of the family officers that actually venture into those trade finance or the structured trade and etc. Because there's a lot of things that the bank or the conventional bank just cannot fulfill the requirement. So, next. So what we are trying to do here is, of course, we are trying to convert the traditional physical wet ink format into the digital format. Phase one, before we even have the blockchain and before we actually have those, the various tokens become more popular. Well, 10 years ago, when we decided to embark on this project, we are just talking about the electronic, the e-copy, like just the email, convert the letter into the email and etc. So that is what we call the phase one, and that's where, we are trying to skip the phase one now because of the development of the blockchain technology and the tokenization. So this is where what we wanted to do is, we wanted to convert all the warehouse receipt or the title, what we call is the title of the ownership of all various cargo in the, in the warehouse, into a blockchain in the unique title, which, the ownership could be clearly identified and the financing become possible.
Huge.
Yep.
Huge.
So that is what we wanted to do, because with the paper base, it's very difficult to verify. This is why there's a lot of fraudulent happening in the world. That yes. people come to my warehouse to claim the cargo, which I said, Mr. A already taken it, CK already taken it. How come because I'm using the printer that everybody can buy. It's just if the country allow, you can actually buy the printer to print the own money, because it's just a machine. The printer that used to print the warehouse is not a control item. Everybody can buy the printer, everybody can buy the paper, everybody can do my watermark, and they just print the paper, they just bring forward, or they can just go to the bank, go to their counterparty and show that I do have the cargo, I do have something in the warehouse, which yes. is not something that we should be doing by today, yes. with the today technology. So with the blockchain, it's a unique ID that, if everybody can show their counterparty, can show their financier that this is the unique blockchain that I have belong to me. Yep. Well, it's well verified. No one can, yeah.
Yeah. So if I may add, basically, in terms of the e-warehouse receipt, it's backed by blockchain, which is you have the entire audit trail of who owns it, where is it being financed to which bank. So you can't double finance any of these warehouse receipts on e-warehouse receipts. And because of that, right, we find that more and more insurance companies are saying, look, I don't mind covering fraud risk right now, because the instances of a fraud happening on a blockchain warehouse receipt is very minimal. So you add a lot of credibility into the warehouse receipt, number one. Number two, the conventional warehouse receipts are all manual. Typically, a trader will just present in whichever jurisdiction they are in, let's say in Africa. And what happens then is they are subjected to the cost of funds that are actually in Africa for dollars is well over 10%, right? With the e-warehouse receipt, you are able to basically present your document to any banks all over the world, any institution, to finance them in a lower cost jurisdiction, be it in the US, Europe, or in Asia. And basically, you open up the doors for traders to be able to obtain cheaper financing, cheaper funding for their products. So
And standardized.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's standardized. The warehouse receipts are standardized. Yeah.
Huge across.
Yes.
I mean, so with that, it also gives everyone alternative, what do you call that? Alternative to store your wealth. For instances, I mean, what happened in U.S. last year? There's a lot of banks just go collapse, and the depositor just lost their money, just lost their wealth, and etc. So for us, we actually see that the warehouse where you actually have a real world asset is something that is one of the alternatives to store your wealth. Well, I mean, of course, the cargo or the commodity do fluctuate. I mean, just the same goes to US dollar. If you're not the dollar-based depositor and you put your money in US in a treasury or the US-based dollar-based asset, I mean, your wealth is subject to fluctuation against your home currency. So that's what we felt, because when we talk about all these, people should store their wealth in the real world, real world asset. Because for us, even dollar become, I mean, it's become like empty promises. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, that is where, beside the efficiency, the security, we actually talk about the house secured or as an alternative investment to to people. So this is the option one, where we are talking about like from the email, the electronic copy that we are trying to. It's not very popular in the sense that there's a lot of. It's not easy to to what you call that, to convert the traditional method of doing things into a new method, even electronic version. But we see the opportunity for the option two, which is the tokenization and so-called the blockchain, because everybody today is talking about the next one, which is the not option two, which is the tokenization. I think it's because everybody now is talking about the tokenization, blockchain technology, and then various coins are flooding the market. You have the Bitcoin, you have all sort of even the fiat currency and etc. So we think that with the trend, with the so-called with this, we could actually catch the wave and then fit in our ideas into this particular trend, that people will buy into the ideas, and then we can quickly have enlarge the user, enlarge the clientele of people who believe in working in the blockchain and warehouse. Well, so this is some of the visual presentation of what we said just now. I mean, LME basically just represent the London Metal Exchange and non-London Metal Exchange commodity. It could be copper. This is copper. This could be lead, zinc, and etc. Those are the commodities that we are talking about, for instance. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to convert each of them into an e-warehouse receipt, or so-called a tokenized blockchain, where they actually carry the real value, which we call the a real world asset, RWA. So whoever that actually own the token or the blockchain, that for us, at least for me, is safer than US dollar, because if anything happened to the organization or to the institution, you can just take this thing, and you can own the asset. You can own a cube of the copper. You can put it at home, or a cube of the gold. You can put it at home. It's linked to the real world asset. So that is what we are trying to give everyone a visual presentation, that what we are just saying just now. Yep. Very good. Yep. Because if you put your money in dollar, it will be gone. If let's say the institution, the bank fall.
It's a fabulous vision. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So of course, in the capital market, in today's world, we can't just change everything overnight. We still need to be friend to the capitalists. We still need to be friend to the Wall Street, or even the in the London exchange. So we have to be friends with them. You know, we need to list our, you know, the token instead of listing the commodity, listing the, you know, even listing the dollar. So we will list the, what do you call that, or the token or the blockchain in the exchange. So it's like, you know, everybody go virtual. Since, you know, when you're trading trading in the ETF, for instance, you're actually trading a virtual paper already. So why not we trade something virtual but not so virtual, because it's linked to the real world asset. So that's what we are doing. And what if you know that the exchange in New York, in London doesn't believe in us? I mean, we've been working very closely with authority, for instance, from in Asia. We came from Singapore. So we actually get the third exchange license in Singapore. in Jakarta, to trade the token. It's a license that issued by the government. It's not the exchange that come out from Malta and etc. It's from actually, with due respect, but at least it's an exchange that coming from a country that produce a lot of the metals, a lot of the commodity, where they do have, you know, the real needs for that. Wow, this is where we are. Today we just want to give an introduction to people, a quick one on the company itself, a very old company, and what we are trying to do with this company, our vision to this company, because we believe that we can convert this Sleeping Beauty into a new, into a new startup.
Indeed. You are so disruptive. You are.
Thank you.
You are not ordinary ex-bankers. You were entrepreneurs hiding out in a bank for a very long time, is what you were.
Well, I guess that's because we get too much pressure from the bank, and and we didn't get enough bonuses, so that's why we have to think out of the box.
Listen, the level of achievements, first of all, to have acquired against really all odds, because you didn't expect it. It's not like, you had any special, against 9 parties, you acquired it fair and square. Glencore wanted your independence, your visionary thinking, so honestly, well done. Chapeau, okay? Second of all, I've seen your audited accounts, and the way that you do the financial management of the firm, really, chapeau, right? Because I thought, wow, what's going to be here? And then it's beautiful. It's really well managed. And then the vision, because I know this, the Swiss love, the wet ink, because they think it's, you can't tamper with it. Let me tell you, I have an example of it being tampered with
Not
myself.
Just the Swiss, in Asia, we need to put our thumbprint. So that is, that's rare.
No, but it just goes to show you what they think is actually, it is tamperable, right? The wet ink is absolutely. So the idea of taking something into the digital world, I see the demand and I see the necessity, and I think the inevitability of what you're doing. So I think the questions from the audience, and we'll open it up for questions in just a moment, but I think the questions are going to be, what if some sort of regulatory or government force does not allow this? So you guys are probably talking about this constantly, about how you're going to deal with, the adoption of this. So just go over that point one more time for the very smart people in the room here. The adoption of this could be shut down or couldn't be shut down if the banks or the regulatory, the governments don't allow this to happen. How are you going to deal with that?
Well, on the regulator, or so-called the regulation, we are actually in a very, unique place, in a sense that, first of all, what we are doing is we try to digitize the cargo, which is in our warehouses. And basically, those cargo is unlike for instance, currency. US dollar is actually, in any part of the world, if you use a US dollar currency, a tender is actually governed by US government by right. But if you are trading in the commodity, for instance, if I just exchange of the copper is not belong to any country. It's belong to the world. It's belong to everyone. So whatever that we want to do with that copper or that commodity is, to be very direct, is none of any government businesses. We can issue so-called the title in the form of paper, wet ink. We can do it in the electronic form, email, and etc. And we can do it in the form of blockchain. So in terms of the format and etc., there's no rules, and there's no one is going to say, look, you can't do it because corporates belong to us. So that is the first thing that we have gone through. We have argued with a lot of legal and etc. Yeah, I mean we come to the conclusion that yes, this belongs to nobody land. You can do whatever that you want. However, we have to comply with the in-country regulator, that in a certain way, if we need to pay tax, we have to pay tax. If you need to do some reporting on our inventory, we have to. That is that is where how the world is function.
Well, I think there's a lot of people in the room that are dealing with the same issue, but in different industries, right? You heard Fernanda the other day talking about how the carriers do not necessarily support the sharing of spectrum, right? You heard Rajan Atyas talking about how he's changing the process of batteries worldwide, right? And so when you're dealing with disruption or rather enablement, but some people want to, some people don't necessarily win. And in the short term, I guess as an American citizen, I could wonder what the impact of what you're doing is on the, but the point is just that there's always a win. And I would argue that what you're doing is a system level win. It's a system level win, and taking it out of the hands of one group of people sharing the pie is winning and the rest of the pie is not winning, right? So I support that, the system level win. What kind of questions do we have in the audience here? I think we have Edward in the back. Let's start with Edward, and then we go to Hugh. We got not surprisingly, the two blockchain guys in the room are the first to ask questions.
Yeah, we did a lot. TJ and I talked a lot yesterday, and as I mentioned to him, we've built infrastructure that complies with regulation in the hardest regulator in the world, which is the US. So it's not a question, it's pretty much a statement and a comment to add to what he was saying. Our platform already complies with SEC regulation and with US regulation. So everything you have talked about from our end is possible to do and comply with the regulation. It took 4 years and close to $5 million for us to get there, but we got there. We did the lame work, and we've been using the platform already with financial institutions mainly, and they're building in the back end of their banks. They're building on our platform, and it's totally finalized and done, and would be great to work together.
Yep. Thank you.
We got Hugh Rogers over there, and Hugh's going to be up this morning. So he's been building blockchain businesses for more than a decade.
Thank you. Yeah, I most recently was director of engineering at Paxos, and Paxos issued Pax Gold, which is the largest market cap gold-backed token, right? So it's backed by London Good Delivery Gold. I think it has like a $500 million market cap. So I worked on all the engineering to, issue that token and, back it up. We had a few problems, and I'm curious if you've run into these yet. So one of the things that you want to do with that, that token's very successful. Like if you want to invest in gold and you want to get the price appreciation on gold, then it's a great way of doing that. One of the problems with it is that the owners of the token don't pay the vaulting fees. So, as an issuer, you're storing a ton of gold in, Brinks in London, and there are some costs associated with that. The way that Paxos recovers those costs is by charging a small fee every time the token is transferred. So if you own the gold token, and you want to send it to somebody, you pay a little fee every time it moves. The problem that creates is that you can't then easily list that token to get traded frequently in decentralized exchanges and DeFi, right? Which is something that you really want to, if you want an active secondary market in your token, you really want to get it,
Why not? I didn't catch it. Why can't you list it? Because of what?
Well, because it moves. Because every time the token moves, you're charging a fee. And all of the other tokens that are currently in DeFi don't have that feature. So the platforms that are out there for liquidity don't, accommodate tokens which need to charge a fee in order to move them. And that's just one way of covering your storage costs. But this is kind of an impediment, like for asset-backed tokens, it's kind of an impediment to liquidity, which Paxos is still struggling with. I mean, we didn't have a solution to this problem. And I'm just curious, if you thought about the sort of secondary market liquidity and DeFi and getting the tokens easily sort of listed in that way, yeah.
Well, thanks a lot. I guess that is also something that we have been talking for the longest. I mean, we don't have the solution to that. And the unique position that we are in today is we are not changing the world into the space that we want to just doing the trading of the token. I mean, first of all, we do the conversion or the blockchain is to basically to enhance the trading mechanism. The first step is actually to replace. We are in the ecosystem that we just want to replace how things are done, the process is done. So this is why simple say is we just want to convert it from the wet ink or even the electronic version into the blockchain. That's the first step. This is why we put the London Metal Exchange to the last, because as I said, at the end of the day, we need to sing the same song with capitalists in New York, in London. But the few presentation before is what we are trying to do. We are trying to improve the processes that we have, and then we do believe that once we have improved those processes, and when we have the vast user in the market, and when everybody get used to that, then we will have a solution to that. So one of the mechanisms that I come across is we are in a very, very unique position in the sense that the renter, also called the warehouse cost, who is going to pay for that? In the LME, in the London Metal Exchange, it's very unique. You don't pay for anything. The buyer pay. You can put it for the longest, but at the end of the day, the buyer will have to pay. So I mean, I need to use a few sexy words over here. That's why in the future market, sometimes you see contango, you see forwardation, and those are the so-called the differential come up from the from the interest, come up from the warehouse that cost which has been incurred. So yeah, I mean, we share the same thought as you. There's a lot of issue that when we want to reach us to this particular stage, but for us is we are not rushing into that yet. What we wanted to do is we want to change the way, the processes that things are done. So when we have that, when everybody is embarked into that environment already, then this thing will come. And yeah, so that's sorry, I don't have the good answer for that, but I hope it's a roadmap that that we think that where we are. And thanks a lot.
Yeah. So if I could just add a little bit, I think that situation you have is that you don't have control over the warehouse in that sense. So for us, it's that we have control over the warehouse. We have control over the goods. And like what Tze Jye say, the buyer pays for the warehouse at the end of the day. And for the warehouse, the goods are we are still holding on to it, right? So we do have certain control over that.
So you could absorb that cost. I mean, I think the thing I would recommend is with the smart contracts is try and avoid embedding those extra features that then create an obstruction to liquidity and
That's a good thought. That's a really
way around it would be building NFTs that you can tag and you can have commissions on the NFTs, because if you've got it in the warehouse, instead of having a certificate, you have an NFT, and anytime you trade the NFT, there's a commission that goes back to you, which is what PaxG was trying to get.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can list it on secondary markets out there.
Exactly, it's another market by itself. And this is why. And this is why we said we found this Sleeping Beauty. It's a very unique company that might not be related to what we are doing today, but we found that if we have this as a platform, there's a lot of things. It's a big playground for us. We can build a lot of things on top of that, and we are in a very unique position that we have. We already have the ecosystem, we already have the network, and we just need to ride the big wave of blockchain.
So 15 of the world's top banks,
Yep.
15, generate $100 billion in profits just trading commodities.
Yes.
So it's limited to 15 people, right?
Well,
So
that's
15.
why if you look at this, basically these are the profit that been taken by the big bank.
For those, there are a couple of portfolio managers in the room and asset management folks, and everybody talks about property as an asset class. Well, commodities as well. The problem is that the average Joe Blow that may only have $1 million or $2 million to invest in a diversified strategy can't really tap into the commodities. What I think from an investment perspective, as you guys are all aligning, because I know from the survey, some of you did come to the FTE winter. In fact, I think it was 17 out of 19 to where are you going to put your money, is there's a term sheet for a $150 million round. And you can use crypto, which is part of the reason why we brought BPN Capital in. But you can participate in the funding of the enablement of the ecosystem. So as I said, Sleeping Beauty is there, right? So waking up the Sleeping Beauty with all of the bells and whistles and the enablement of that, it's pretty de-risked. Plus you have the asset backed. And you have the mechanism where you also, it's asset backed, it says what it is, and then you're enabling it. So it's a pretty interesting opportunity to participate as an individual investor or family office in something that normally you wouldn't be able to do, right? You'd be looking for, okay, maybe I invest in property, but here you can invest in the commodities ecosystem, which I think is pretty unique. How many of you were in London when Uber came to town? Anybody like me who was in? So I never took public transportation in London. I was always like keeping the transport for London in business. And then one day Uber came to town, and they grew the market, they dropped the price, they cleaned it up. All of a sudden you had different kinds. You didn't have the road rage of the London taxi drivers. You had a different kind of driver issues and things like that. But the point is that the Uberization of transport in London is in many respects what I think of when you think of tokenization. It grows the market. New entrants, more transactions, grows the market, right? Price comes down, it's good for consumers, and so forth. And in almost every, and if you think about what, there's so many, but the Uberization of it, this has all of the benefits of that. You're going to end up growing. We're going to bring you guys back every year, and every year you're going to talk about how the size of the market has grown and how more entrants have come in. Because what we know from Christos Spiro, for those of you who are at FTE Athens, who's going to be a partner, we're introducing you, he has cargo all over Africa. This is a Greek entrepreneur who built his business, and he wants to plug in. He wants to plug those SME businesses from the cargo world into Access World, and grow the transactional revenue on top. You've got a lovely logo. Our world, your world, our world. What is it? Yeah? Yeah, yep. Very inclusive. It's absolutely. Any other questions for Tze Jye and CK? So there is a financing opportunity. I'll share the term sheet with you so that you can see. We're doing rolling closes of $5 million towards the goal. There's been soft-circled interest already towards that. This is a business which already has been, again, they secured the asset a year ago. Which is kind of public information. It's all over. You can see the news online if you want. And then we'll share this presentation with you. All of the presentations will be made available to everybody, and you guys will make yourself available for personal people who want to participate in this with you. Any last words that you'd like to share with the group?
Well, the last one will be something that very light. Everybody talk about the ESG, and etc. So as when we have a meeting with the vendor, or so-called with the previous owner, we actually ask them, so what ESG you have in this company? Well, interestingly, Accessway is actually the logistic partner for UNHCR, which distribute all the food stuff from state to Africa and to many war zone places. So that's one of the ESG that the previous owner is doing. Well, as well as today, we embark in almost 80% of the solar panel movement in the world. I mean, to Africa region. So that's where we contribute our little effort into what you call that the ESG. Wow, we're trying to make a living out of that. So now this is the last, the last bit that, we are also trying to say that we are ESG compliant, and, we like ESG. Well, thank you.
Guys, you've been what you've achieved is really incredible. We wish you all the well, and we want to work with you to get this the next stage of your development financed. And congratulations for what you've achieved, Tze Jye and CK.